Our top focus, of course, the UAE President's visit to India. Now, the United Arab Emirates President Sheikh Mohamed Bin Zayed will pay a visit to New Delhi on Monday, aiming to strengthen bilateral ties and explore strategic partnership opportunities. During the day-long visit, he will discuss regional and global issues of mutual interest with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The visit comes amid UAE's standoff with Saudi Arabia and Yemen, as the former allies are now backing rival groups there. This will be his third official visit to India since assuming office as President of the UAE, and his fifth visit to India over the past decade. New Delhi shares close ties with both Riyadh and Abu Dhabi, as the Gulf neighbors are now competing for influence across West Asia and Africa, with Yemen emerging as the most volatile flashpoint. Let us now take a look at, in fact, what is on the agenda for this list. Now, remember, ties between India and UAE were established back in 1972 after UAE emerged as a country back in 1971. Now, what's exactly on the agenda? The leaders will chart new frontiers in comprehensive strategic partnership between India and the UAE. Now, remember, India and UAE are very close allies. India is, in fact, UAE's second largest trading partner. Talks will focus on boosting trade and investment under the existing CEPA framework signed earlier. Now, the CEPA, which is the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, was signed back in 2022 in order to increase trade between both the nations. Both sides aim to expand non-oil trade, which has already crossed the $100 billion mark. Now, trade between both India as well as the UAE has crossed the $100 billion mark, of which about 37% is already non-oil trade. Energy cooperation remains a key priority, with long-term supply arrangements and security discussions. Now, energy, remember, is one of the key trading areas between both the nations. The agenda includes a defense industry collaboration and enhancing partnership and manufacturing sectors. Now, remember, both the countries hold joint military exercises, as well as just over the past 2 weeks, the Indian Chief of Army Staff had visited UAE to shore up military ties. The CDS rather. Now, regional and global issues of mutual interest will be exchanged with strong convergence noted. Now, one of the key critical points that could also be discussed among this meeting is, of course, the issue of Iran. Middle East developments, including Gaza and West Asia tensions, are likely to feature prominently. As I had mentioned, Iran, as well as the current situation in Gaza, will also be on talks between both the leaders. The visit builds on recent high-level exchanges to deepen multifaceted economic and political relations. Now, remember, both the countries are seeking to expand their trade, non-oil as well, and increase cooperation in a lot of other sectors. Cultural and people-to-people ties will also be highlighted to further solidify the strategic bond. Now, remember, 3.5 million Indians already live in UAE, which is one of the second largest populations of Indians that actually lives besides India. And people-to-people ties is one of the most critical elements of the relationship between India as well as the United Arab Emirates. Alright, so now this trip is the UAE President's third trip since he has assumed the presidency of United Arab Emirates, which was back in 2022, and this is his fifth visit in just the last decade. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta, who is a former diplomat, joins me for more on this. Sir, obviously my first question, UAE's president is visiting amid a time when lots of developments are taking place in the country, are taking place in West Asia rather. You have the Iran-US tensions, as well as United Arab Emirates versus Saudi Arabia playing out in Yemen. So there's some sort of a power tussle there in the country, and of course the situation in Gaza. Now, at such a point, at such a time, how important is this visit? Alright, it seems like we're facing some sort of connectivity issues there. Just to reiterate, this trip takes place amid heightened tensions across West Asia, including the strained Iran-US relations, as well as friction among Saudi Arabia and UAE in Yemen. Now, remember, Houthis rule Yemen, but the government in Yemen also has Saudi Arabia as well as United Arab Emirates fighting in Yemen when it comes to the governance of the broken away region that the Houthis do not control. And also the unsettled political question of Gaza also comes into picture. Now remember, trade ties between both the countries, in fact date back to a maritime period as well. It's decades old, and UAE emerged as a very critical partner for India. Ambassador Yogesh Gupta joins me for more on this. Sir, obviously my first question being, now this visit of the UAE president comes at a time when there are of course lots of developments taking place in West Asia. You have Iran-US tensions, you have UAE versus Saudi Arabia playing out in Yemen, and you also have the question of Gaza coming in. At such a point, how important is the visit of the Emirati president to India?
It's a very important visit because in the political developments, that have taken place in the Gulf, you mentioned about the developments pertaining to Gaza. Now, UAE is much closer to Israel, and Saudi Arabia and others, they are sort of maintaining a certain distance because they have conditioned that unless Israel agrees to a Palestinian state, they cannot have normalization with Israel. And the other thing is that Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and Qatar, they are seeking closer defense ties with Pakistan because they are not sure about the U.S. reliability in the Gulf. Whereas UAE is much more closer to India, and in the bilateral context, UAE is very important to us. It was the first country in the Gulf, first major country with whom we had this economic cooperation agreement. We had free trade agreement. Politically, Prime Minister Modi and the Sheikh of UAE, they have a very close relations. UAE has helped us in sending many terrorists back to India. Then UAE is part of the India, Middle East, Europe initiative. And also in the field of defense, we already have some collaboration which are taking shape. But in UAE and India, in terms of joint production of defense equipment, then we are also, talking in terms of training exercises, training the Emirati armed forces and so on. And I think during this visit, the Sheikh of UAE will seek even more closer ties with India, and I think that is something that India will consider very carefully.
Additionally, sir, how do you see the UAE and India ties progressing over the next 5 to 10 years, considering the momentum that this relationship has seen in, as you know, UAE is rather one of the most critical partners of India in West Asia, and bilateral trade also is increasing day by day and has already crossed the $100 billion mark. There's also a lot of there's also defense cooperation as well.
As I just mentioned, politically we are very close on the Kashmir issue and so on. UAE has sided more with India. It invited our external affairs minister to the meeting of the OIC and so on. And economically and trade side, investment side, it has forged much more closer relations with India. And on the defense and security side also. So UAE has, in a sense, we can say it has chosen India over other countries in the region. And I think the visit of the Sheikh of the UAE is an extension of all these developments. And we will also, India also, supported the inclusion of UAE in the BRICS. So we are also, quite in step in terms of supporting the UAE both politically, economically, and now in the field of defense.